Trump's first term that reviewed state data from 1990 to 2014 regarding reports.
Ma'am, we
Source from the FBI crime reports you see are the Center for Migration Studies and the Pew Research Center. The federal government has spent over
if you don't get on topic, I'm going to shut the microphone off.
has spent over $409 billion taxpayer dollars in immigration enforcement since
Please shut the
2003.
microphone off.
Despite
Undocumented population, the data shows no increase in crime. Currently, less than 1% of these encountered at this border are found to have a criminal conviction. The majority of them committed non-violent offenses. This is according to the data from Border Patrol and Customs. This country has spent more on immigration reform than what's spent on all of criminal law and crime. What is this reform is posturing? Sometimes it garners support from fear. It creates a problem only they have a solution for. It has stapled that immigrants as a reason for a poor economy despite being under tax administration and most of our money was for unnecessary expenses. This campaign message has worked to change the country's tax reform. So what does this have to do with our city? The data speaks for itself. There is no record crime rate in this city, let alone this country. NYPD ordinance to remove no criminal encounters. Why suggest that we do this outside of the despite the ICE with their own police, they have jurisdiction here. The MOA is made on purpose. It doesn't answer enough questions, and that's the approval profile. Whoever oversteps it is enforced regardless of personality. The city attorney puts a court of warrants that this opens up possibilities for lawsuits. Anyone with civic responsibility for what Mr. Thomas, do not harm my community. Immigrants, legal or not, are part of this community. What this city is asking is not for me to listen, but to protect this agreement should destroy our trust in the country, especially now. So
Thank you, ma'am. Your time is up. Captain Jones.
in your city, whether for work or to be in contact with their loved ones, friends, and neighbors. The reason why I'm here is because 287G is not about safety.
Feel safer and protected, and not just those who don't run a risk of getting racially profiled for their appearance. We the people should be who you listen to and consider. If we the people are angry about our taxes going to training the FMPD to be ICE officers, and our taxes will be what is used to pay out lawsuits when someone gets unlawfully detained, then you should listen to us when we say no. When we say we'd rather that money go to building up the community than to tearing it apart. Thank you again to the three of you for standing with us. We stand with you just as hard. The people united will never be divided. Thank you.
And I am here today as a concerned citizen, a community leader, and an advocate for the dignity and humanity of every person who calls this city home, regardless of their immigration status. This agreement could erode the very fabric of trust that our city has worked so hard to build. Safety is not about civilians and fears. It's about community, connection, and care. We need policies that will reflect the values and compassion, inclusion and justice. We need to work with our immigrant communities, not against them. For that reason, I urge you, Mayor, council members, to please vote against this memorandum. It will not be safe for our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is this what we want to condemn our neighbors to? I certainly don't. This is not about the rule of law. If anything, this absconds law and order. We know ICE has violated the rights of undocumented immigrants, permanent residents, and citizens alike. All have been detained by ICE in recent days. My partner is a veteran of this country. He's on spring break from law school and he wanted to be here, but even though he's a few months from graduation, he's swamped with work from his immigration clinic clients. People that have followed the process and laws this country has established are still being detained by ICE and told the legalities of their case do not matter. They will still be deported just the same. His clients have reported being beaten and confined inside their cells days on end and at times without adequate meals. Again, this is not about the rule of law. ICE is not complying with laws, and it would bring shame upon this city to have our name commingling with the modern day Gestapo activities that is ICE. ICE is more criminal than my neighbors.
That one. Also, does this legislation outline a grace period that reflects the wage hours the person will need in order to get those last documents, in order to afford them? And another thing that should be considered are how many economic feasibility studies were you all given in conjunction with this legislation that prove it costs less than it would to just pay for all these people's documents? How do we know that this bill would not act as a catalyst to deport people who would like to be documented but cannot afford it yet? It seems like we want to beat them to it right before they can get that last document. They don't have another week of work. Is there a term definition for, well, something I would like to know is there a term definition for economic warfare in this legislation? And how is this not economic warfare? Is the term financial discrimination defined in this legislation? We all know that developers benefit from undocumented workers because it means they can wage theft them and get away with it. Pay them less than they would a documented person and get away with it. How many studies have you all been given in conjunction with this legislation that outline the economic ramifications of the sudden spike in labor costs that this will cause, and the chain reaction in our economy that would cause? Does this bill outline what will happen to people who have been wage thefted and are currently getting deported? In other words, do we have a plan for deporting their money along with them? Or are we just going to allow that to be kept here? And my last comments, poor people migrate here when we destabilize their countries nationally. Mexicans didn't take our jobs, General Motors did. I work for the public, and I find it hard to imagine.
Thank you, ma'am. Time's up. Up next, we have Daphne
Thank you.
Vasquez.
How this will affect to us. You know why in here there are not many Latin people? Because they have fear. I have friends that they left this state because they have fear. We're gonna be empty. We have to be united. We have to work as a big family. We have diversity. That's the fundamental bond of this country. I believe that everybody should have equal opportunities. I'm an architect, I'm an engineer. I feel sometimes that I've been treated not fairly because I don't have the right opportunities, because my skin color. That's reality. I want you to think about it. Whatever decision you're making, you're gonna affect not only people like me, everybody. Right now, the prices in Florida, we have orange, we produce orange, but $8.78 the gallon, the orange juice. Why? You know why?